It's the Marc Clarke Morning.
All opinions expressed by Marc Clarke or his guest Alex SLOCUM on this show are solely their opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Marc Clarke Media. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Alex SLOCUM as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of his opinion. Alex SLOCUM opinions are based upon information he considers reliable, but neither Marc Clarke Media nor its affiliates and subsidiaries warrant its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. Marc Clarke Media and its affiliates are not under any obligation to update or correct any information provided. Alex SLOCUM's statements and opinions are subject to change without notice. You should be aware of the real risk of loss in following any strategy or investment discussed on this show. Strategies or investments discussed may fluctuate in price or value. Investors may get back less than invested. Investments or strategies mentioned on this show may not be suitable for you. This material does not take into account your particular investment objectives, financial situation, or needs, and is not intended as recommendation appropriate for you. You must make an independent decision regarding investments or strategies mentioned on this show. Before acting on information on this show, you should consider whether it is suitable for your particular circumstances and strongly consider seeking advice from your own financial or investment advisor. This message is provided by Marc Clarke Media. And welcome to the show. Wow, that's a breath. That's a lot.
It is the simple little breath of life.
The breath of life. So welcome. Welcome. This is normally my show. So Steve, I normally do the show in the morning. Tonight, because of GOPX, I'm here, and Alex is going to join us. But we have, to start our broadcast out, our conversation out, we have Steve Whitaker. Steve, how are you, my friend?
I am well. You know, what a pleasure to meet you, Mark.
You know what? And I saw Steve. I saw you, and this is the beauty of technology, right? I saw you on a virtual call, probably a few weeks ago. I told you you're much more handsome in person. But so Steve, you were telling me that again. So we have the GOPX token, and you said that your device is what did you say it was?
A consumption point.
A consumption point.
GOPX token.
And I said to Steve, what does that mean? A consumption point. And Steve basically said, you can use the GOPX token to buy my device.
You can use it to buy the breath of life. When you look at the retail price of $600, if you paid $1 for a GOPX token or Game On Players token, you can buy it for 500 tokens. So it's a distinct savings right off the bat. Our goal at the Breath of Life is to save 1 billion lives one breath at a time. And we've put more than 10,000 of these little units out and have only had very positive feedback in this crazy last 2 years. It's a simple little device that seeks out viral contagions and zaps them in your lungs.
And you actually come from a space of someone who needed this. You're a survivor.
I am. I'm a stage 4 throat cancer survivor, and in all that chemo and radiation, you lose all your immunity. My wife is a physician from the Ukraine, which is not a good place to be talking about right now with the chaos in the world, but she wanted me to have something that would just simply boost my immunity. And she's got me on all sorts of herbal things and homeopathic things. But when we found this, the last 2 years I've been using it, I have not had a cold. I haven't had a viral attack. If you think of cold sores, I haven't had a cold sore. Things I normally get because I have no immunity really regularly.
Wow. And so again, we're off the air. We're talking about, again, GOPX and what it means. So products like yours, you basically said that Alex has brought products like yours into the community, into the GOPX community, which is just going to grow larger and larger. You know, a lot of. I know we have a lot of people who are listening who are followers who follow me on the show, and they heard about the opportunity, and many are in the opportunity, and so they're looking forward to talk to Alex. And so they actually sent a list of questions, and actually Alex already responded to the questions. So he's getting ready for this event, which actually starts at 6 o'clock with the Westin, the beautiful National Harbor Westin, which is this week. It's popping because we have the is it the cosplay kids?
Anime.
All I know is I saw people dressed up like animated characters, and I think I saw some cheeks out too. I don't know.
It's like Comic-Con. It's a big deal. Right.
And so the harbor is booming, and GOPX is here. And so again, at 6 o'clock we start the official event. I'm hosting, but I wanted to get here early to again answer some of those questions. And so again, Steve, you've been involved with GOPX, and you see, there's so much new thing. There's so many things going on that people are not aware of. And I was just thinking, from the time I saw you a couple of weeks ago to now, I just have such a better understanding of what's going on. But it's still, we're learning every day. And
every day.
Tell us about what got you excited about GOPX.
So when I first started to put my game plan together, how we were going to market this, I had written up a whole thing on, we were going to have a token, and it was going to be a utility-backed token backed by this as an asset. And as I walked down the line and met Alex, met Game On Players token system, they're one step above a utility token. They are security token backed by a patent pending. That should give us all a lot of faith. I mean, I look at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of them out there. There's more than 1,000. None of them have any assets behind them. They're speculation, pure and simple.
And that's why Alex wanted to do this.
He wanted a real value added to the GOPX token. And that's what brought me on board. It simply gives great value to anyone that comes into it. And they have a schedule. They're not joking about how the price will go up. When they're listed next month, it will jump in price. And people then will be actively trading it, gathering fiat or leaving it in to allow it to grow. I'm going to, I bought a few of the coins. I'm going to stick with it and see if it all follows through. But I agree with you on your disclaimer. It's an investment. We all need to be cautious with our pennies, our dollars, and how we do it. That's what brought me to his consumption points.
Yeah.
Because if people can buy this in a less expensive way, for me and our goal of saving 1 billion lives one breath at a time, this is a home run for everybody that can use the breath of life.
And it's interesting because I think we're at a time, just like what's going on with the kids. We were talking about it off the air. There's so many things that are going on that people are a part of and people are invested in. And then some people are not aware of it at all. I was actually I had a passive understanding of GOPX because a friend of Alex introduced me. And again, at that first call, just watching it and kind of seeing things grow, you just, once you start to just get involved, you start to have a better understanding. And I think a lot of people aren't even standing on the sidelines. A lot of people don't even know what's going on at all. And
our world is changing.
Exactly.
This cryptocurrency, and then they start talking about NFTs. When somebody said that to me the first time, and almost an acronym for a dirty word or something, but non-fungible transactions where they're going to create digital records of stuff. And the young people today, they're eating this up.
Yeah.
I don't quite comprehend it, but.
Well, what's interesting was you, just like today, you telling me about, you didn't say consumable. Consumption
points.
You telling me about consumption points helped me understand NFTs better, because it's all kind of the same, right? It's basically assigning a value to something, and if you can secure the value of it, and it's recognized as what you want it to be or what it says it is, now you can trade it. And I guess that's what we're doing, just like with your device. So GOPX, if I can buy that with GOPX, if I can buy a car, now it gives more value, and now people, like you said, you start trading. And so the more you have these conversations, the more you it makes sense to you. You see more and more people get involved. And I think the main thing with all of this is that what I realized is we're in a world where you can't just stand by and say, oh, I don't know about that. I'm not going to learn about that. It's like, dude, you have to learn about it. It's going to become a part of your daily life. And then, like Sandra says, opportunities. They're once in a lifetime opportunities. Here's the part that's the beauty of it for those who even watching right now and the people who are a part of the GOPX community. You know, Sandra, we saw this the other day. We had the tall guy, Typhoon. I think I messed his name up, but he was saying that with all this new information, there are people, you could become an expert in it. You can become a thought leader in it. And just imagine that if you become a thought leader in Facebook. I remember the first time I got a Facebook, someone invited me to Facebook. And I remember I ignored it for like 2 months, you know? And so it's like this information, especially with, again, what I like about GOPX is what you talk about, because that's Alex. You know, I've met Alex, and that's his pet peeve is the instability of crypto, or the volatility of it. And so that's why, you know, as he was trying to build his the gambling aspect, he needed something that was more secure. So now he created his own thing that's more secure. And so I know I saw he has some pet peeve, like things he doesn't like. I don't think he like you to say crypto. There's certain things he doesn't like.
There's certain things he doesn't like.
And so, you know, so I also am encouraged by that, because that person is not sending you down a path. You know, he likes to, you know, he likes things to be what they say they are. And so
to get into the crypto world as a token, it costs a lot of money, takes a lot of time, a lot of specialized programming. But then Alex, he's the first person in the world to take it that one step further and actually apply for a patent and have the U.S. Patent Office issue the patent pending certificate. This is a huge jump forward for any kind of cryptocurrency. And, you know, now that he has that, I'm not sure anybody else can do that, because
interesting.
There's one patent.
Interesting. So I had Sandra. Shout out to Sandra, who's checking us out.
Hi, Sandra.
Sandra sent me. You know, she basically in her network shared the information and add some specific questions for. You know, Sandra says, you wait to learn every little thing before investing, you'll miss out. I learned that with Bitcoin. You know, we had a list of questions. And again, Alex, is scheduled to be here, but I understand he's kind of a medical situation.
He's right there.
He's right here?
He's walking in the door.
We said his name and he showed up. And so awesome. So I was going to go through the questions, but Alex answered the questions. But we can have Alex take a look at him again. Alex, how are you, my friend? You okay? Alex, again, Steve, thank you so much.
I'm going to stand up, Mark, and
appreciate
put
you,
Alex
my friend.
in his seat.
And good, it's good seeing you in person.
Absolutely good to meet you.
And you too. Now it's great to see Alex in person. You know, again, we're in a world that this virtual world brings us together, and it's powerful. I mean, it's powerful because, you know, at the end of the day, you get to know. Oh, sit here, Alex. You get to know, you know, the essence of people, what they are about, what moves them. And so, Alex, again, I met you via phone, and I saw you on a couple of the different calls. And I was just telling Steve, there's certain words that you know, when you say crypto, you don't like to say crypto. There's certain words you don't like, and things like that, because you want to make sure people understand. GOPX is not crypto. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, here he is. Alex SLOCUM is in the building. So welcome, my friend. Right. So, Alex, you know, I sent you some questions about. So, at the end of the day, tell us the story of, you know, GOPX.
That's a great story. I have been in software development for over 27 years, and wrote the first software program. So after I thought about retirement, I started creating software games, online casinos. I created a game called Sports Pool after, you know, the football playoffs and stuff like that. So as I began to create games, I got introduced to a token that was integrated with games, and I thought, wow, this is great to integrate cryptocurrency with the game, you know, and really provide the gaming community with a way to earn, you know, not just play, but play and earn. So that's where the idea of adding cryptocurrency to the gaming world came about. The only problem that I faced at the time with the current cryptocurrency world, it was that it fluctuated. You know, it went up and down. So the value that you would give a player, or the value that you would have in tokens, acted like a stock, you know what I mean, or a price, or but even more volatile, because Bitcoin went up 64,000 and it went down to 35,000. It does that daily. So what I wanted to do as a software engineer was create a stable growth token. And what I did when I created that contract, right, the token, we create tokens or cryptocurrency at the time, you created a token through software. And in that software, I said, okay, well, instead of doing the traditional route of just adding a value when it gets listed, right, I wanted to, via the smart contract, create a value over 2 years.
Okay, now you mentioned that the smart contract. Alex, what is the smart contract?
A smart contract is software that interacts with the blockchain. Normally it's used in DeFi settings or decentralized loans, or it could be used to do things like put property or music or NFTs on the blockchain. So it's a contract that executes software. Okay, originally Bitcoin and the Bitcoin blockchain did not have smart contracts, but with the advent of Ethereum and Ethereum blockchain, it allowed you to do some things that were remarkable. In these contracts, once you created the software with these contracts, they couldn't change, they're immutable. Okay, but the if then else, for example, if we had in our tokens, if the date is March 1st, set value at $100. Again, this set the token values all the way into June of 2023 from $1 to $2,500. So that smart contract, once these dates hit, it executes on the blockchain to change that value, almost like it was coming up with another initial value.
Wow,
So,
interesting.
The one thing that, since that hadn't been done, I was able to put a patent on that. And again, there was the token creation itself on that smart contract that would execute said code based upon if this then else. Then we moved from now you changed it from $1 in June of 2021 to December, we changed the value to $20, right? And in March, we'll change it to $100. And in June of this year, we'll change it to $500. And these are minimum values. And then the last change or the last value set in that contract is June of 2023, where it sets the value at $2,500.
Okay. So, Alex, that is amazing. Lenny says, how do we keep track of the investment and know day by day it's growing?
It's on the exchange like a cryptocurrency. Like you can see what Bitcoin is doing, or Ethereum, or Shiba, or Dogecoin on a Coinbase exchange, or a Kraken exchange, or any of the exchanges that are out there that list tokens, right? And again, you can also actually see the value and follow it on by this Etherscan. Since this is an Ethereum token, right, a ERC20 token, you go to etherscan.io once you get it listed, so you'll see it'll start tracking.
And so when will it be listed?
March 1st.
March 1st.
A couple weeks. Yeah.
And so you actually answered these questions, Alex. I just wanted to make sure, because I know a lot of the people that follow me, everybody, about 40 folks came in, so they're excited to meet the king. And so they asked the questions, and Alex answered the questions already. How do we know the token will be worth $2,500 June 2023? You just explained that one. Can I add my bank to the GOPX website?
And that's through the exchanges. Like when you list on Bitmark, we're listing on Bitmark and Coin Payments. And like
Bitmark and Coin Payments.
So again, those exchanges will list the token value. It allows you to buy and sell the token as well as cash out. So when you have and register with an exchange like Coin Payments or Bitmark, you actually attach your bank account to that.
Okay.
So you come in, register, you set your KYC, know your customer documents, because that's a requirement on the exchanges. And so let's say you had $10,000 worth of GOPX tokens you want to cash out. So on the exchanges, you have a buy, a sell, a convert, and a cash out.
Okay.
So when you cash out, you're actually selling your tokens. And again, like I said, that gets put to your bank account.
Are the gas fees excessive?
The gas fees are minimum based upon the amount of money or the amount of that you're either converting or selling or buying. So the gas fees aren't that bad. Okay. But again, like I said, in some exchanges, they're really low. Some are really like gas friendly exchanges, and like Coinbase or some of the top exchanges, they charge a little bit more because of the premium sites.
Okay. And so Alex, I think Alex is in the shot. What's up, Paul Porter? I see. He said, "Tell Alex to get in the shot."
Move over a little bit.
So, uh,
I hope that's better.
yeah, and so again, I'm sorry. Let me look at my questions again, because you answered the questions. You said, do I have to pay taxes on the money you make from GOPX? You said no if you have a trust fund.
Right, and that's critical, because if you cash out, let's say you cashed out and you for $100,000, that is a gain.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're taking that token into a fiat currency. So the U.S. government will tax that as a short-term or long-term gain. Trust funds are important when you're talking about having millions of dollars worth of value. And that way, if you put it in a trust fund, it's non-taxable, like an IRA or a Roth, for example, right? So again, like I said, that is key to not only, again, setting up your wallet or security for wallets like hard wallets and things of that nature, but a trust fund is critical, for not paying taxes on a lot of payout. And that's something that we actually go through on the site. And again, like I said, and we'll be posting up, because we do have a partner that does trust funds for us.
And someone says, is GOPX a platform like Coinbase?
No, GOPX is a token. Coinbase is an exchange, okay? And there are exchanges like Kraken, Binance, or some of the top exchanges out there as well. We're using Coinbase, Coin Payments, and we're using Bitmark, to launch. And ultimately, like I said, we want to migrate to the top exchanges. And that brings a more investor base, right? Because these exchanges have 7-8 million investors on it. And once they see the difference between GOPX and a cryptocurrency like Ethereum or Bitcoin, that there's really, again, that ROI is not there. What is Bitcoin doing right now? So if anyone tracks Bitcoin, it's not like it's going to double or do 5 times, or even 100 times, like our token, or, have the celebrity pull in marketing, or what the key is our consumption points, like you just talked to Steve Whitaker, CEO of Breath of Life. So I mean,
Breath of Life. Look at Steve. That's right, Steve. Put it out there, baby. Steve's like, "Bow, here you go, Alex. Put it out there."
Exactly.
So, Steve, the breath of life, is that just for anybody, even if you're in perfect health? Is it something that you would add to your daily routine?
It's something I use daily right now, in the morning, in the evening, before I walked into the room, and when I walk back out, I'll use it again.
Okay.
I don't know who in here might have a viral contagion.
Okay.
I don't want to get it.
Because you don't have any defense. Okay.
Ask Alec, he's got a personal testimony.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that I did when I first got the Breath of Life was I used it. And my cousin, he had an aneurysm. So we had to go to Columbia, South Carolina. And while I was there, we were all together, the family was there, concerned, of course, right? And, they all contracted COVID in the house. I was the only one that tested negative.
Wow.
Because I was taking the Breath of Life.
Okay.
So,
okay.
And I was telling them about it. But after, they had contracted it, of course, then they wanted the Breath of Life, right? So I made sure everybody had one.
Now, Steve, first of all, Alex should have brought the Breath of Life to the family cookout anyway.
I did. No, I did.
For everybody.
I did.
Okay.
No,
okay.
I actually had it.
All right. Okay. Now I won't be critical.
No, but I actually had it. But one of the things that with and this is key too, because there's so many use cases for it. Now imagine, my cousin, he was basically in a coma. Okay, and then the visiting rate. You know how hospitals are really strict about COVID visits or visits period now,
right?
And under COVID protocol. So his wife had contracted it, but she couldn't even go see him. Okay, and since that she had contracted, she wasn't, again, couldn't go to the hospital for 14 days.
Wow.
And they had to put him in a COVID isolation because she had it. So those are some of the ramifications of, getting COVID. Again, like I said, that people who don't have it or may get it at a later date, that they'll face if they have to go to the hospital or things of that nature, like we experienced there.
So Alex, I have a friend. He's my friend. He's always been my friend. He was, and again, because I know the man. I said, I know this guy, and so how many people do you know who are actually in the game? But that wasn't enough. He was turned off by the dollar. He said, man, for $1, I can crypto, And I really didn't have any answers. You know what I mean? Because I was like, well, and so what would I say to that friend?
Now, what did he say to you again?
He basically was like, for $1, I can, for $100, I could buy blank, blank, blank of crypto, and I guess, he's made money. And so he's just almost like, why would I do that? When all this is out there.
But I think let's go back to basics. Why does anybody buy anything? Because they think they're going to get a return on their investment, right?
Right.
So he can take that $100 and buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. He don't know what the price is going to be tomorrow. He hopes or speculates that it'll go up. And that's the same with Ethereum or Shiba or Dogecoin. And once you hear about a coin's exponential growth, it's always at the start. So you always want to put your money rather, buy low, sell high. That's been the formula, right? What I mean? So thinking about somebody with $100, again, when he says, what is Bitcoin going to do versus GOPX, he knows he's going to get 2,500 to 1, okay, because of the smart contract. He cannot say that about Ethereum or Bitcoin. All right, so when he's talking about, I got $100 that I'm going to invest, it's really probably because of lack of knowledge of what GOPX token is versus the cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Dogecoin, or Shiba.
And you know what? Now I'm going to go here. Alex, and I hope I don't offend, but do you think? I mean, as was mentioned, you have basically done something that no one has done before with the patent, right?
Yeah, right. And the patent was because the tokens that were created, there's about 8,000 plus of them, Bitcoin being the first, right? And why they didn't set values at that point was, again, that part and parcel of it wasn't in the ecosystem. We created a token to be a currency in existing companies and more companies that we would bring forth in partnerships like the Breath of Life. Now you think about the Breath of Life as an example of a consumption point. These retail for $600. You can get it for $500 worth of GOPX tokens. So that creates an added value. So when you purchase this with GOPX tokens, you're using it as a currency. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Shiba, they don't have that. All they have right now is, I think it's going to go up. I speculate. And it's basically the equivalent of, you can be knowledgeable and follow trends. Like say if Elon Musk came out and said something positive or negative, you've seen the token.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
If you've seen the government come out and say, we're going to do more regulations, you see this stagnates. Okay. But if you see something positive or hear something positive, like, hey, Bitcoin may go up to $100,000, people start buying it.
Right.
Again, but that is speculation based upon hearsay or what's out there in the media. And all media sources aren't good.
Well, and what I was going to say, Alex, is do you think being an African American makes some people look at it almost like, how could this guy do that?
But again, they don't know the story because, again, who created the first PC application? It was a Black person, right? Me. Who created, again, some of the software that we see out there are the engineers, like Lewis Latimer, Charles Drew. So it's not a question of color. Okay. Right. Once you bring color into the equation, you're just taking away so much from that base of knowledge where they came from. Where does our technology come from? It comes from Sumerians. We're still using the same technology from 400,000 years ago. Base 60, base 10. You talk to people about the perception or finance, what gives anything value. Okay, so again, once you educate yourself. So again, like I said, it's really about looking at the smart contract, because the smart contract is irregardless of who created it or what color you are.
Right.
Because
it's colorless.
Once you create that token, like a Bitcoin or Ethereum, again, what can you do with it? It's on an exchanges. Bitcoin, Ethereum are on all exchanges. That's the most popular cryptocurrency tokens out there. But what can you do with it? Buy or sell it? We don't even know what color Satoshi was.
Right.
Nobody knows if it was a person, man, a woman, female. Okay. But again, from a software perspective, like I said, I'm well awarded, certified. Not only did I create software, I taught. I was certified Novell instructor years ago and worked for Fortune 10. So the credentials in software speak for itself. But that still, even though I had those credentials, when I created the token, I looked at what Satoshi did. Satoshi started in 2008, 2009. It was on exchanges and being traded. Vitaly Buterin, who did Ethereum, he evolved it to the smart contracts. Okay. So again, when Vitaly Buterin did 19-year-old, by the way, Canadian, you know,
It's amazing.
again, that should have been patent pending what he did. But again, like I said, once you, like myself, when I started software, there was no predecessor I can go against. Like, you know, the forerunners of, you know, what I did was, what I would say, Tom Siebel, when he created databases and things of that nature. And then big companies out, Oracle put them out. You know what I
Wow.
mean? So again,
The coach.
our first software packages before coming out of mainframe was Macola, Peachtree. They were accounting packages. And this was before email. You know, when email hit, it created a sensation in the software world. And then now hardware was the selling point. It was the price value.
Right.
Back in the days. Now software dominates.
Right.
Hardware is like you can do infrastructure as a service or software as a service. So again, that's the evolution because these things grow. Like again, what needs to be done with cryptocurrency? It needs to be stable. Okay, you need to have a base where you can use it in B2B. I couldn't use the cryptocurrencies of the day in business because not only did it fluctuate daily, it fluctuated by the hour, which created the need to start changing like, okay, how much money did you get in Bitcoin today? And what is it worth an hour from now, tomorrow? So again, that's a lot of processing power that I found that I wanted to change, and that's where the patent came in. The other thing is in my online gaming or my online casinos that that I had created, I wanted to use a stable token. Okay, so when you got it today, you know that hey, it's $1 or it's $20. You know what it's going to be tomorrow at a minimum. But then from there, again, it didn't take away that open market either because these values were just minimum values. The token could be $500 tomorrow. It could be $10,000 in August. Okay, but you know that the base is set.
Is there? And so I think someone asked a question, the value, so, you have 200 token, 400 token, whatever, is the cash value, is that real?
Yes, because it's on exchange. Because again, like, is Bitcoin value real? Think about Bitcoin. Satoshi Nakamoto in 2008 created a currency, virtual currency, out of thin air. And what backed it? People's speculation that it had value. You take that versus the U.S. dollar. What gives the U.S. dollar value? The United States government, legal tender. So when you go and present that dollar, you have to honor it in this country. You don't have to honor it in Mexico or China or Japan, but here, where the U.S. government has jurisdiction, they set that value of $1. Before 1974, we set that value against gold.
Right.
After 74, it came off of gold. Okay, but it's a promissory note. Okay, and the U.S. government then began to say, here's the value of what we deemed. But again, that dollar back then is the same, only with inflationary means behind it. Because of course you have $1 and the government says you have to honor it. That doesn't mean that 25-cent loaf of bread can't be $1.25.
Right.
So that's where, like I said, finances and understanding economics come into play. But again, what gives GOPX token value? The contract does.
The contract. And so this window, Alex, it's kind of almost feels like the wild, wild west, from crypto to tokens to everything, right?
Yeah.
And it feels like it always feels like the government won't let these millionaires just happen. How long is this window? What do you think? How do you think this party ends? As far as, is it the next 5 years or 4 years? Feels like there's going to be some type of, like I say, regulation, and it's going to shut down the opportunity.
Well, I think, for example, if you look at the basis, the blockchain is not representative of a government as it controlled by government. The blockchain is a distributed ledger.
Okay.
Okay. So you can put things like voting, you can put things like NFTs, you can put things like medical records on the blockchain, right? And the reason why you would do it because it protects, those assets again that are put there where it's on and distributed based on millions of computers, right? So the government's involvement always comes down to money. Okay, and again, like you said, the what are we going to be a year from now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the SEC has already came out over the past years that, that these tokens should be security, right? So if you create a security token, it should fall under SEC guidelines and regulations, right? If you create a utility token, right, that's more of a blockchain, peer-to-peer token, right? From the SRIB point of view, that is something that's not regulated. But the government is going to look to regulate utility tokens as well. Now, the difference between if you have a security token, you cannot invest in it unless you're an accredited investor.
Mm.
Okay, so that automatically keeps millions of people out. Utility tokens like us and like what we do with our quick tips caching is to be able to move cash through the blockchain. Okay. And again, it's like I tell people, it's not the cryptocurrency or the blockchain currency that has the value. It is the actual blockchain. The blockchain allows us as a people to work one-on-one with each other.
Okay.
So if me and you're working together, and then we add Steve, and then we add Bob, again, as long as we're not dealing with the fiat currency of the government, there's nothing they can do. It's only when we convert to a country's fiat or currency, then they have access and jurisdiction over.
And so, Steve, you were thinking of a utility token before you discovered GOPX, but GOPX is a utility token, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so but it was
Exactly
you got
It's
the
way
one.
ahead of me.
Okay, got you. I got you. You believed in the direction that GOPX where it's going.
Complete.
Yeah. And so, Alex, I know you got to prepare for 6 o'clock.
Right.
But man, it really has been a blessing, man. I've learned so much. It almost felt like it just, sitting at the feet of the master. And I'm excited about where this is going. It feels historic.
And again, like I said, it's an educational process,
Mm-hmm.
And one that everybody should, get into that is really aware or want to have that change. Because again, at the end of the day, we have an opportunity to, for the first time, is to collaborate without a central authority. And the central authority is not going to let that happen, without
right. That's why my flag is up. It feels like.
But again, like I said, there's nothing you can do about it. Again, like I said, the blockchain is like you and I talk. What can the government do?
Right.
Like even in Russia, I remember, for religious, they restrict religion, but people still practice the religion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because of the fact that that's their belief system. So even though the government has the that programming, of divide and conquer, but I would just end with this right here. Think about our system and what we see and what we're fed daily. Is fear. It's division. Okay, it is to keep us divided. Because Genesis 11 says that if they come together, there's nothing that they can't accomplish. And that's from God. And think about this as coming from God. And that's what I'm most excited about. The funds, the money. We talked about the token, but again, like I said, I always talk about the blockchain, and it is the first time we do a presentation. That humanity has another chance to get from under, and I use the term the matrix. And get from out of the system, because you cannot do anything with the current system that's controlled by the central authorities, but you need and will have to create another one.
All right, Alex Slocum joining us again. It's going down at 6 o'clock here at the Westin National Harbor. Let's see. I'm sorry, Sandra had a question here. Can people purchase direct from the referral link on GOPX site?
Yes, they can. They can like someone sent them a referral link. They can purchase tokens from there, either through using Ethereum tokens or Bitcoin tokens. They have the ability to request an invoice for credit card payment, and they also have the ability to send a wire for anything over $5,000 to $10,000, right? So yeah, you can definitely purchase from there.
Awesome. Thanks, Sandra, for that. All right. Thanks, everybody, for checking in.
Yes.
A late night version. Thanks, everybody in the building. Thanks so much, man. Steve, one day I'm going to get that, man. Maybe I'll use some of my tokens to get that. So, guys, have a great weekend. We're going to have some fun here. It's starting at 6 o'clock with Alex Slocum and his crew live.
And thanks for having me, guys. We really appreciate it.
Definitely. All right. Alex Slocum. Hey, what's up? It's Marc Clarke. Okay, that's that.
It's barely morning, and somehow Marc Clarke has to wake up. Of course, Marc has a little